Well, chaos erupted at Atlantic Station last night when a swarm of teenagers ran through the area, damaging property and firing gunshots. Atlanta News First reporter Mary Kate Hamilton is live for us in Midtown this morning. And Mary Kate, walk us through what happened there last night.
Well, chaos is exactly the word, Chelsea. Police initially responded to a call around 7:15 last night for shots fired in Atlantic Station. When they arrived, they found a huge group of teenagers who were shooting off fireworks at property, at buildings, and into the crowd. Well, when police got there, they were, for the most part, able to disperse these teens, but the chaos wasn't done yet. I want to show you a video of what the scene looked like last night when police were first responding, and you can see just how huge this response was from law enforcement as they worked to determine the threat level. Witnesses estimate over 100 teens were in the group that started setting off fireworks there in Atlantic Station. That large group dispersed again when law enforcement swarmed, but then a smaller group of teens caused more trouble. They started at 1371 Market Street Southwest, and then they headed towards Spring Street Northwest and 17th Street Northeast, and that's where shots were fired. Officers shut down Spring Street, and people in nearby restaurants and bars were told to shelter in place. Now, this restaurant I'm standing in front of, Non-Thai Fine Dining, they sustained bullet holes in their windows. There was a car that was damaged. Luckily, police say no one was injured, so right now they're focused on property damages only. We're working to learn more as this investigation is still active. Live in Midtown, Mary Kate Hamilton, Atlanta News First.
All right, Mary Kate, thanks so much.